Okay, sorry about a slight delay here. Had some technical difficulties, but we're now getting started. Let me first of all share my screen. There we go. Cool. So welcome to the Q4 Hackathon. I know the event, quote unquote, officially kicked off several hours ago. But wanted to have a sort of a informal kickoff sessions to discuss logistics and share other information as things are getting started. I've already noticed several MRs that has been submitted for the hackathon. I was very excited to see that first thing in the morning. So hopefully you can see my screen and hear me and see me okay. So just have a quick presentation that I want to go over. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to chime in here. And also, if you're on the live stream on YouTube, feel free to type your questions on the live stream text as well, and then I'll answer your questions too. So quick agenda. This is meant to be informal, but wanted to share a couple of things. First of all is wanted to give you an update on the community conduct we have at GitLab, and talk about some of the initiatives we have going for the GitLab community at large. And we'll devote bulk of the discussions on the hackathon logistics and any Q&As at the end. But feel free to interrupt me, as I said, if you have any questions. All right, so first of all, a code of conduct. I don't know if people have noticed, we've updated our community code of conduct at GitLab, and you'll see the full text here on about.gitlab.com page. We added more details and made it more readable by breaking things out into different sections. And obviously, this is probably not a whole lot different than other community code of conduct that you've seen in other open source communities or other communities in general. Obviously, the goal is to foster an open and welcome community for everybody who's interested in contributing. So that's sort of the spirit of our code of conduct. And like I said, hopefully it's more readable, and then it has more details in terms of our goals and what we want to strive towards. And also, we added an email alias called conduct@gitlab.com if you have any concerns, or heaven forbid, if you see any inappropriate behaviors in the community that you can report to. So that's there. And then just as an FYI, this is a good practice amongst different community managers. We'll probably reiterate the community conduct before Hackathon and other GitLab related events. So just as an FYI. So the next couple of slides, I want to talk about what we've been doing to help people that are contributing into GitLab, and some of the initiatives that's been going on that maybe you weren't aware of, and some of the things that we started. First one, this is a lot, and then you should have a link to this on the page. Yeah, I should probably Hackathon wiki page. So this is where we store the event logistics information, including the presentation, the slides, and the recordings. And when we're done, you'll see them here. So when you look at the presentation after this call, or even during this call right now, so this is a live link. It takes you to the core team page. If you weren't aware already, the core team is basically comprised mostly of community members at large. I mean, these aren't people that are tied to any particular organization. They're just representing themselves, and they're not. Most of them are not members of the GitLab GitLab as a company, and they're basically, their mission is to be the voice of the community. I mean, if they have any concerns or feedback they want to provide to GitLab as a company, I mean, that's sort of their mission, and that's their job. And I mean, a good example is if there's, I mean, certain features that you feel strongly that should be included in the community edition, not just in the edition that enterprise edition that people have to pay for. I mean, that's some of the feedback that we received in the past and incorporated. And so you can take a look at the core team members at the core team page there. Like I mentioned, and then the core team also meets monthly, and then we record those meetings, and they're posted on the GitLab YouTube channel that you should be able to search. And we just had our meeting earlier this week on Monday, so you should be able to, I mean, listen to those core team, I mean, meeting recordings, and the meetings actually are open to the public. So if you want to listen in and participate, everybody's welcome to do that. And the other thing that we've been doing, I mean, since I joined GitLab back in June, some of the things that we've done to streamline community contributions. I mean, one of the things that we've been trying to better triage and escalated issues that are, or merge requests that are coming from community members at large. So one of the, I mean, things that we've done is to basically add a label called community contributions. I mean, we do this once a day automatically using our GitLab bot. So that gives, first of all, gives us visibility into contributions that are coming on a daily basis. And you know what I try to do as you know, on a daily basis as well, once I see those merge requests, is to put it in front of the right people. I mean, triage them for the right product team and escalate them if it's necessary. And also, we're also trying to do, amongst a lot of us, including core team members, is that make sure that these merge requests are being reviewed in a timely manner. So hopefully, I mean, you've seen improvement over the past several weeks, and you'll actually see more details. There's active discussions going on amongst a lot of us, with people like GitLab and core team members, on how to improve contributions in general. So you'll see the epic there under the quality team. If you have any feedback or questions on that, I mean, please let me know. So moving right along. So a couple of other things that are going on. I mean, you may have seen this. I mean, we've started reaching out to, I believe I started this with 11.2 release back in August, is, you know, reaching out to people after their first MRs are merged. So we give them a little token of our appreciation, and plus, you know, if they'd like, you know, have a chance to talk to one of the core team members if they like, sort of like a mentor, to get them going as they're starting their contribution to GitLab. And you probably have seen this if you've been following GitLab for a while, is basically for every release, we choose a most valuable person. So we call them community MVP. You can click on the link there to see the past MVP winners. So we select, you know, most valuable person, and this is people out in the community, not, you know, employed by GitLab. So I mean, that's a couple of examples of things that we try to do to recognize community members, and we'll probably think of other creative ways of continuing this tradition as well. And the last item, I mean, this is sort of work in progress, but I want to share this with you. What we're trying to do is to get better visibility into contributions that's coming from community at large. So we have a dashboard. You have a URL there that you can see that's being built. We're still working through issues on making sure all the data is available there from Community Edition as an example, but I think we're getting close. And we have a screenshot of community merge requests that have been merged for the 11.4 release as an example. And I mean, you'll see over like 104, I think like 110 merge requests among, I mean, a few dozen contributors. So this basically gives us an idea of who's active and who's contributing and where the contributions are coming from. So feel free to take a look at their dashboard. And if you have any questions, please let me know as well. Okay, so moving right along, and I'll just jump straight into hackathon logistics. So obviously, just like we did this in September, this is a 2-day event. Actually, it kicked off, quote unquote, officially about 7 hours ago, I guess. And then it lasts, approximately 2 full days. And most of our conversation, I mean, outside of these tutorials that we have scheduled, will be happening on our Gitter community room. So if you haven't joined our community room in Gitter, please do so. It's open to the public. It should take you less than a minute to be part of that Gitter room. And I've already seen conversations that have been happening once the event started. So if you have any questions or just want to interact with other community members during the hackathon, that's a good place to do that. And as I mentioned, in addition to this talk here, we have several tutorial sessions lined up from Meltano and Omnibus today. I mean, those sessions will start in about 45 minutes. And tomorrow we'll have speakers to cover architecture and Gitter. And these, in case you're not able to join the live streaming session, these will all be recorded and will be posted on the wiki page and the YouTube channel as well. So I know the URL is not the easiest one to remember, but click on that and then you'll see the materials and recordings posted there. Cool. So, and then moving right along. So in terms of people, I mean, David had unfortunately, I don't think he's on the call right now because he had a conflict, but I mean, 2 of us, David, he's my manager, and my name is Ray. Like I said at the beginning, we're sort of the host of the call, and feel free to reach out to us on Gitter or Twitter and other channels if you have any questions or feedback during the event. So, and speaking of which, yeah, I mean, like I noted on Gitter, I mean, feel free to ping either David or myself, and then we'll, if you can't answer your questions directly, then we'll try to find somebody else who should be able to help you. So that's that. And here's a quick introduction in terms of other tutorial speakers. Jacob from Meltano team, DJ will be covering Omnibus, like I said, a little later today. And then we have Stan, who's our engineering fellow. He'll be going over the GitLab application architecture tomorrow, and then Eric will lead a discussion on Gitter tomorrow. I believe he and I will try to improve one of the features on one of the merge requests, and hopefully a lot of you can join us for the talk or at least watch the recordings as well. Cool. So, and in terms of, I mean, for those of you that are new and are looking for ways to get started, looking for ways, things to contribute to. So this slide number 10, we're just to give you an idea of how to find issues that you can work on. And obviously, we welcome contributions of any kind. So, I mean, don't feel compelled that this is the starting point and you need to start here. I mean, if there are other issues or other merge requests you want to open, I mean, you're more than welcome to do that. But in case you're wondering how to get started or where to get started, this is pretty reasonable starting place. I mean, go look at issues, and then look for issues that have like a couple of labels. I mean, one of them has a label of like accepting merge request. And then has a milestone of backlog. I mean, typically a lot of the merge requests or issues will have a milestone tied to a specific release, like 11.6 as an example. But we created a new milestone title called backlog, and if you apply those two filters, like accepting merge requests and milestone of backlog, you'll see in the community editions at least, you'll see the number of issues that are more manageable to look at. Rather than looking at thousands of issues, you'll probably look at like 100 or so issues that you can take a look at, and you can also look at the weight of the issue as well. These are, these are meant to convey the level of difficulty of working on that issue. So if you look at issue with a weight of 1 or 2 or less, that you'll probably have an issue, see a list of issues that are good for beginners. And I ran this query. You can see in the screenshot. I mean, I believe I see about 17. So that those are somewhat manageable list of things that you can look at and see if there anything grabs your interest. And the other label that you can probably add here to make it even easier is to add, like, include only looking at like documentation related issues. I mean, documentation related issues, they don't require any, a special setup like GitLab Development Kit to start the development work. The documentations are usually easy, low-hanging fruit type of thing that you can fix. So go ahead and like apply those labels, and then those are issues that are particularly easy to get things started. But like I said, we welcome your contributions in any different varieties. I mean, this is just the suggestions on where to get started, but hopefully this gives you a good place to sort of get started and go from there. And then as you're like looking at various issues, if you have like particular questions on the issue, like, feel free to reach out to people who open those issues, or just ping me or David, and then we'll be happy to get you going as well. Okay, moving right along. I'm sorry about that. Clicked the wrong screen. Yeah, merge MRs and prizes. Carrying on the tradition from the last hackathon. One of our main goal is to have community members work on merge requests, and then just to raise the visibility of merge requests during the hackathon. Feel free to copy both myself and Dave Planella. So you can type this text as an example in one of the boxes and just say copy. Whoops, sorry about that. This is Mac trying to be helpful. Just copy like add RPake and add D Planella, and even add a note that this MR is for the Q4 hackathon, and that'll help us better triage your merge requests and raise the visibility. And for documentation related issues, you can also copy the documentation team using the group label at GL Docs team. So they'll raise visibility on the documentation related issues as well. Yep. So we'll be, a few times during the day. I'll be looking at merge requests that are submitted by community members. But if you include us or copy us, that'll make it easier for us to sort of locate and find. Yeah, definitely would like to ask you to do that. And we do have prizes for the MRs. Anyone who has their MRs merged by November 26th at 2300 UTC. So that's obviously about a week and a half from now. We wanted to get, I mean, obviously some of the MRs are involved and it does take time to get them reviewed and merged. So we wanted to give you plenty of time to get those things done. So even if you get started like tomorrow, you'll still have more than a week to get those merged and completed. So anyone who has MRs merged by November 26th will receive a prize, and we'll also recognize a person who has like the most number of MRs merged. If I remember correctly from the last event in September, I think the top winner had 7 MRs merged in the time frame. So that's just to give you an idea. So encourage you to get started on the MRs and just ping us if you have any questions and if you think there are potentially any delays in getting things merged. And the prize winners will be notified through an issue. And I mean, there's just a mechanism we have in place to preserve like people's privacy, so that like people's email don't get like exposed. So you'll be notified through an issue. When you have your MRs merged, and then you're eligible for a prize. Okay, moving right along. So just wanted to share the picture of the prizes that you'll be eligible for once you have your MRs merged. And on the left, for anyone who has MRs merged, this is pretty new GitLab slippers. I mean, in the Northern Hemisphere, the weathers are getting cold, so this hopefully will come in handy. On the right-hand side, unfortunately, I didn't have a bit better picture, but this is a GitLab branded skateboard. So whoever wins the grand prize will be able to show off their prizes around the neighborhood or at skate parks. So these are the 2 prizes we have, and wanted to include a photo of it so that you know what you're striving towards. And a couple of quick things. I won't necessarily go into these in detail. A couple of slides on basically what we call starter's guide for contributing for GitLab. On this first page on slide 13, basically has a number of URLs. I mean, things in terms of contributing to GitLab starter page. I mean, that's the top URL there, and based on your areas of interest in terms of your contribution towards code development, helping with documentation, those things we talked about. I mean, there are other ways you can contribute as well. I mean, helping with internationalization and translations and UX design. So for those four different areas, we wanted to list some reference materials if you're not too familiar with these areas on how to get started. So things like documentation on how to help with internationalization, how do we do UX design, how to get started with GitLab Development Kit I referenced earlier, and where the documentations are located. So those, I won't necessarily go through those in details, but if you're curious about ways you can contribute, I encourage you to visit these web pages or documentations as well. So this is sort of reference materials on where you can get started, or how you can get started, rather. Once you get started on looking at these materials or trying to download something, if you have any questions, feel free to ping us as well. Okay, moving right along. So in terms of getting help, I mean, obviously, once you get started, sometimes it won't necessarily be smooth sailing. So these are, wanted to list some of the resources that you can utilize, not just during the hackathon, but even after the event, if you're contributing there, if you have any issues, we wanted to list some of the resources that are available to everyone. Obviously, first one we talked about already is Gitter. If you have any quick questions, just post them there. Wanted to list additional reference materials on getting started contributing. That's the next one. And the third major bullet point here, not sure if everyone is aware, but we do have what we call merge request coaches at GitLab. So, I mean, these are all GitLab employees right now, but I mean, their role is to basically help community members with their merge requests. If you are getting started, if you have any questions, or if you get stuck with something, these are resources available. These, I mean, they're located all around the world. We have merge request coaches in the U.S., Europe, India, and other places as well. So they pretty much span the globe. So you know, no matter what time zone you're in, you shouldn't have any issues getting hold of any of the merge request coaches. So the first link there is basically gives you an idea of what a merge request coach does and how they can help. And to find them, I go to our team page at aboutgitlab.com. And there's a drop down in towards the end to filter for department. And one of the department is merge request coach. So just search for them, and there should be 7 of them that are listed there. And they'll be more than happy to help you, not only during the hackathon, but even after the event as you're contributing in general. And also wanted to provide a list of reviewers and maintainers of various projects at GitLab. So once you're working on a merge request, and for some reason you weren't able to get a hold of a merge request, but you want to talk to somebody that's expert in a specific project area, so go look at that page in our handbook for the engineering department, and then you'll be able to find the right person that you could probably ping or include or copy in your merge request, so that the product expertise will be able to help you as well. And I believe that's my last slide. Just want to see if there are any questions, and I'm looking at the YouTube live stream as well to see if there are questions, and I don't necessarily see anything. So I'll leave it at that for now, or let me give like a couple more minutes for me to get a sip of coffee and to see if people have any questions. So I'll pause for a few minutes. And then I'll go back and just point out a couple of things on the wiki as well while we're wrapping this up, and while people might be typing in questions. So here's the wiki page for the Q4 Hackathon. So obviously you have logistical information here. I mean, getting started information these were included in the slide deck, but I wanted to have it at the top of the wiki page in case people want an easy way to reference them. There's a schedule of the tutorial sessions. Like I said, we have 2 more today and 2 more tomorrow, plus a wrap-up session I have. And the materials and recordings from all the sessions will be posted here. I mean, after the recording is available on YouTube, I'll add a link here as well, in addition to the slides that you're seeing right now, or the slides that you just saw. And then here's how I'm keeping track of the community merge requests during the hackathon. So if you click on this, it'll take you to an issue that I just opened yesterday. And I just did a quick check before this tutorial, and I was able to find several MRs already that people have started working on. So I'll add those merge requests, community merge requests during the hackathon. I'll list them here. So if you don't see yours for whatever reason, like I said, I mean, please feel free to ping me or David, and then we'll make sure they're included there on this page as well. But you'll be able to see a running list of MRs during the hackathon, and hopefully you'll see this list grow. I can't remember the exact number we had last time. We had more than a couple of dozen that were submitted last time around, and hopefully that number will grow. So just wanted to share that, and I think that's about everything I had. I don't believe I see any questions on the live stream. So I'll give people 10 minutes back. Sorry for the technical difficulties at the beginning of the session. It wasn't able to get things started on time, but happy hacking, and hopefully I'll see you on our Gitter channel. Thanks very much, and have a good one. Bye bye.